Welcome back to the Grill Zebo. I'm Eric. I'm going to do this video for a viewer of mine. Her name is Tina. She asked if I could do a video of smoking for newbies. New people that are just wanting to get introduced into smoking, don't know what to get. Should we get a pellet smoker? Should we get a stick burner? But there's a few things that you're going to need to take into consideration. The stick burner, it doesn't run on power, no electricity. The pit boss that I have, the pellet smoker, you got to have electricity. It also has a control panel. That control panel could go bad. There's a lot of different things that could go wrong. The auger could get stuck. Your fan could just decide to die one day. With a stick burner, the only thing you really have to take into consideration is a good source of where you're going to get your cooking fuel. I've got a good source up here where I can go buy my wood to put into my firebox. That's one thing you're going to have to find, some supplier of cooking wood. The pit boss, the pellet smoker, you can buy pellets almost anywhere. You can go to Ace, Lowe's, Home Depot, King Super, Kroger, just whatever you want to go to, and you can find pellets anywhere. But your cooking wood, you got to find a supplier of good cooking wood. I'm talking about pecan, oak, hickory, maple, mesquite, your cherry, your apple, peach, things like that. So anyway, let's get started. Tina, this video is for you. Now what I have here are the things you're going to need to get your fire started if you choose the stick burner. This is what's called a chimney. These are your fire starters, tumbleweeds, and this is your charcoal. I like the lump charcoal, the briquettes, preferred over the lump, because when I get the lump charcoal, I get down to the bottom of the bag and I got a lot of little bitty pieces and they fall right through here and get into my firebox, and it's just a waste of money for me. I do like the lump charcoal because it's made of real wood, as opposed to this, which is pressed wood. And some of the brands that you can get out there, they put additives in their presses as like a release agent. For instance, Kingsford, they use borax as a release agent. I got dogs back there chasing squirrels and stuff. Sorry about that. Hey, leave it. Leave it. But they put a borax in their presses as a release agent to help these briquettes pop out easier. So you've got borax in Kingsford. There's no additives in these. I did another video on some charcoal comparisons, and I did some pretty in-depth data research on them and found out some stuff. So you could probably find that if you search my YouTube page. In order to get these started, you're going to need a lighter. I prefer a long one, to keep from burning myself. But anyway, let's get this going. Now, we don't necessarily need this chimney, because what I like to do is I'll just fill my fire box right there, my basket, with the charcoal, and then I'll put the fire starters underneath it there. I'll start the fire starter, put the charcoal in the basket, and then put the basket back in there. That'll kind of eliminates all that, So anyway, let's get a fire started. Now you can see I've got my fire starters down in there, the little tumbleweeds. I got them set kind of away from the cook chamber a little bit, because that's where I want my majority of my charcoal, over on that side as well. I got a good base to start my coals with right there, and I want them over by the door to get a good oxygen flow, keep a lot of that heat. I don't want it to be blasting heat right in there, so it's going to be a little farther away from the cook chamber. But now, as you can see, I've got some rust here, and I've seen a lot of rust on a bunch of other guys on their videos. I want to go ahead and cover that with some spray. It's a food grade oil, a canola oil. You can use this expensive brand right here, or you can use a cheaper brand right here. They're both canola oil. There's no difference except for the price. This one's expensive, this one not so much. So we're going to use the last of this can right here and kind of try to spray some of this rust. Maintenance is a big issue with your smokers. You want to keep them clean, keep them rust free, because ain't nobody want to eat no rust. Nobody that I know wants to eat any rust. So I'm going to do this before I start the fire, because this stuff will go up. It is flammable. I'm going to get the back of this too. I use this can up. This firebox gets rustier than the rest of it, I'll tell you that. But that heat coming off those flames, really. And get up under there too, because if you can't see it, that doesn't mean it's not there. So it's still rusty up underneath there too. So now we got this thing covered with some pretty good oil, an oil layer there. We'll go ahead and get these fire starters going. And I'll get my charcoal on there. I'll leave that door open about that much. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see that. Leave that door open. Let those charcoal, let the charcoal get going. And in the meantime, I've got the meat inside the house sweating with the seasoning on it. Let some of that seasoning penetrate the meat, and the meat kind of gives off this moisture from the salt and the seasonings, and it all just kind of binds together. It's a wonderful process. Hard to explain, but I like to let the meat sweat. Another thing you're going to want to take into consideration, if you're going to get yourself a stick burner, you want to be able to have a supplier that can supply you with some good smoking wood. I've got pecan over here, and I've got some hickory over here. Now, things like this, that's an ash tree. These are ash trees. They're not good for smoking your meat. You got that one back there, that's a locust tree. You don't want that either. That's not good for smoking meat. You don't want pine. There's pine tree over there. That gives off a lot of tar. So there's a lot of wood that you can't use, that you don't want to use. You could use it if you wanted to. I wouldn't. You don't want to cook with that wood. Now, hickory, pecan, maple, oak, alder, cherry, peach, apple, mesquite, you can use those. Those are great woods to smoke with. I honestly prefer pecan and hickory, and I've got a good supplier. So that's one thing you want to take into consideration when you get a stick burner. You got to have supply of fuel that you're going to use to cook with. Now, if you're considering a pellet smoker, I've got a Pit Boss 1150, and it uses pellets, but it also uses electricity. We've got a control panel, and there are things that can go wrong with these things. I've heard stories about guys that have to have their control panels fixed. And it's got a fan, it's got an auger, and you want to turn it on, push the knob, set your temperature to where you want it, push it again. Now it's going to heat up. It's going to start the auger, and the fan's going to start running once the auger's full. The igniter's going, it's going to catch those pellets right there. They're going to go down there. Now you can't hardly see it, but there's an auger down there, and they're going to feed into here. Inside there is a firebox, and it's got an igniter that sticks out, and it catches those pellets on fire. And then the fan starts blowing. It'll heat up, it'll circulate the air, a nice convection oven inside here, and then your pedals will get going. Once, what you want to do though is you have to keep this thing open while it's in the startup process. There's gases that'll build up inside that cook chamber right there, and you got that thing closed down, it's going to go poof, and you'll be like, what the? So anyway, keep that open until your startup process goes through. You'll know it because this thing will fill with smoke. A lot of smoke will come out, and then once that fan kicks on, starts blowing it through, you can close that door and let the thing heat up to your 250 degrees where you got it set. So that's what we're going to do with the startup process with a pellet smoker. On both of my smokers, all of my smokers, the ones that have grease traps, that's a little bucket, just hangs on the end, and the grease runs out that hole right there, drips in the bucket. This is my pellet smoker. Keep that cap up. That doesn't do anything but keep the rain out. The wider open it is, the better. Get a good circulation through there. Now this is my stick burner. I've got a grease trap on that too. And the grease drips out of that hole right there. It's my smokestack. I did an extension on it. You don't have to do that. I did because I found that I get a better temperature across the grates, more even temperature, and also because of this baffle plate that I got in there. It's a lava lock baffle plate. So I've got that. I got that online. It wasn't cheap, but it's worth it because that helps even out your heat from your fire will come through, and it's got a series of holes that progress from small to large, and it comes through here, and it just slowly releases the heat and the smoke as it goes down the line. So I've got pretty good temperatures all the way across this. That's lava lock baffle system. This is known as an offset smoker. This offset because your smokestack is offset from your firebox. The air will come in through there, take your heat, put it up through that hole right there, and that goes under my baffle and through the cook chamber. And then there's your release right there, your smokestack. So we're going to let this fire go. We're going to build up fire, and then we're going to be putting some wood on. Now, my pellet smoker startup process. This is what I meant. You'll hear that fan kick on. It's blowing all that smoke out. All right, now the startup process is done for the pellet smoker. We'll go ahead and close the lid and let that heat up. We want that to get up to 250. We're only at 53 degrees out here in West Denver right now. This is a water pan. All it does is just holds water. Now what I do, I usually fill it up with water, and I'll stick it down under this grate right on top of that baffle plate where that heat comes through, and it'll heat up the water, causing steam. A lot of guys don't seem to think that it doesn't do any good. It's just a waste of time, waste of water. But I don't know. I mean, you do you. I'm not going to criticize anybody else. If you want to put a water pan in, put a water pan in. If you don't, then don't. So anyway, there's my water pan. I'll just take it. I filled it up with hot water so it doesn't take as long to heat up. You can see the steam coming off it. And I'll just put it on that baffle plate right there. And I'll just slide my grate back over there. And I'm just going to close the door. Well, I need to get my brush and clean that off. That's from my last smoke, my last cook. So we'll clean that off. This is what I use to clean the grates off, the cooking grates. It's a brush, but it's not wire. It's nylon. You don't want to use a wire brush because some of those wires, they have a way of breaking off, and some of them are so small you won't even see them. They'll sit here on your grate when you put your food on there, and next thing you know, you got a piece of wire stuck in your tongue or your tonsils or something, and it's probably not a good thing. I've never had that happen, but I've heard about it happening. And so you could buy these things pretty cheap. but use a nylon brush. It's a stiff nylon brush is what it is, and it works just as well as a wire brush, and it's not as dangerous. It's not going to get stuck in your craw, you know. Those coals are starting to get pretty red in there. So I'm going to take a couple pieces of wood here. Take a piece of pecan, piece of hickory here. Got my pecan, got my hickory. I'm going to lay them up on here. Let them get nice and warm and start catching on fire. So that way we can get this fire going. Now what I'll do is, after this gets going and we're cooking, I'll put some wood up on here to keep it warm. The warmer your wood is, the easier it'll catch fire. Right down here we got an ash can. You're going to want to get one of those. When you go to clean this out, you got to have somewhere to put it. It's just a galvanized 5-gallon bucket. I'll fill that thing up and I'll just dump it in a trash bag and throw it out with the garbage. Not a bad idea to have yourself a poker. A little fireplace poker is what it is. I got a fireplace poker and a fireplace broom. I'll sweep the ash out when it needs to be swept out. But I can get my charcoal back there where it needs to be and move the wood around if I need to. Put a little air gap in there so we can have some good air for the flame to come up through there. This hook right there, I'm able to stick it in this end right here and pull some of that ash out into the bucket. That way it keeps a nice flow of air underneath the coals. Okay, as you can see, I got a nice base going, got a fire going. My logs started up there. So I'm going to close this up. Let this cook chamber heat up. In the meantime, I'm going to stick a couple of splits on top of this firebox right here and let them get nice and warm. Matter of fact, that was from the last time. I'm going to stick that this way. Let them get nice and warm. I'm going to leave that door open right there for airflow. You can already see I'm up to 100 degrees on this side, and we're up to 100 degrees on that side. So I got a nice temperature going all the way across from firebox side to the exhaust side. Let's see how this pit boss is doing. We're up to about 206. Now I've got this thing filled up pretty much a good amount of pellets in there. I'm using Bear Mountain maple. I've got some alder in there too. Bear Mountain maple and alder. And I use Bear Mountain because it gives a good flavor to the food you're cooking. And there's several different brands you can try. I don't know what all they put in the pellets. I don't know how they make the pellets. They just put them through a die and squeeze them out. I don't know what they use to keep them together. Probably a paraffin of some sort. But anyway, I use Bear Mountain. I've had good results with Bear Mountain. All right, we're up to about 222 right now on the pit boss. So I'm going to go ahead and take this rack of ribs. Like I said, we're going to go bone side down. I'm going to put the thin side over here because I know that this is my hot spot over here on the pellet smoker. Now you're going to find out from cooking that you're going to have some hot spots throughout your smoker. I've got a video on my page. This is a toast test, a biscuit test. It shows you how you can place biscuits across and find your hot spots. So look for that video too.
I don't know how well you can see that, but I got a nice clean smoke coming out of the top of my smokestack.
Now we were a little bit hotter over here than we were over here. And we're about the same up on the top, but I'm not cooking up there right now. I'm cooking right across here. So what I'm going to do is put the fat side, the thicker side of the meat, bone side down, over here. And we're going to cook right there. You got to click it 3 times or it just won't turn out right. Okay, we're about an hour in to this cook. And as you can see down there, I'm getting a bit of a divot right where the auger is, right there. And so what I want to do is make sure my pellets are piled up right above where that auger hole is at, that auger pit. And that way your auger doesn't run dry. Just keep an eye on it. Now we're going to take a look in here. Ooh, those things got nice and warm. Trying to put some more wood on. Got to keep that charcoal. A nice charcoal base here. Let that wood catch. Shouldn't take long because it's heated up already. And there it goes. The reason why it caught so quick was because I had it preheated. It's already hot wood. Put it on those hot coals and it's going to catch right up. So we're going to let that get going here pretty good, and we'll close that right down. Okay, we got some good flames coming off that wood. I'm going to go ahead and close this down. Lay a couple more sticks up there. You can see over on the left side, we're up over 300 degrees. We're about 275 on the right side. It means we're about right in the middle, right around 280. That's not too hot, but the thing is that you got to manage your fire. You got to manage your fire in the firebox. So if it gets a little bit too warm, just lift this up, a little bit of heat out. And over here on the pellet smoker, it's basically taking care of itself. We're staying at 250 solid. The only thing we really have to do is check the pellet box, check the hopper, and make sure that we don't want our auger to run dry. So we'll just drag these pellets over to the middle. And that's about all you got to do with the pellet smoker. Looking good. It's been about 3 hours that we've had them on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to wrap these up. I'm going to bring them in the house. I've got the oven set to 225. I'm going to let them cook in there, wrapped up in foil, for about 2 hours. Okay, I got the one off the pellet smoker, and the reason why I'm finishing these off in the oven is because the oven, I can turn it on and off anytime I want. But these things right here, I'm going to be cooking these things in foil for the next couple of hours, and I just don't see any reason for me to waste wood when the smoke's not going to get to the meat. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these off in the oven, save fuel, save pellets, save wood. I don't have to go through that expense or the trouble of going to find more when I can just wrap these things up, put them in the oven, control that temperature for 225, and hey, if I want to, I'll go take a nap. I've already started the shutdown process on this after I got those ribs off of there. This is going to take a while. The fan's going to continue to blow. It's going to clear out all the unburned pellets that are in there, and then it'll shut itself down. That's the cool thing about the pellet smoker. As long as it's working right, it's working good. All right, I've got those ribs in the oven at 225. They're going to sit there for the next couple of hours, just cooking slow. All right, now these have been in here for an hour, or 2 hours, I'm sorry. I'm going to take them out of this foil and brush them down with a little bit of barbecue sauce. Now, you probably got your own favorite barbecue sauce, but I've got mine too. And I always have to travel back to Oklahoma to get it. That's the one right there. That's the real deal. I ain't kidding. So what we're going to do, we're going to get these out. They're really hot right now too. Get some good pullback on these bones. Ooh, hot. Hot, hot, hot. I'm going to get this rack out of this foil and turn it over. We're going to sauce the top of that. And once we sauce the top of it, we're going to get it back in the oven for another hour. These things are already bending perfectly like I wanted them to. So they're practically done. I just want to get them in there and get this sauce tacked up on it a little bit. Now, this is not just about the appliance, but the utensils. I've got a bunch of stuff, probes and temperature spikes and stuff like that, ink birds, but this has never failed me. Just an easy little meat probe. Let's see what it says. That's right around 180 degrees right now. These things are ready to eat. But we're not going to eat yet. We're going to put them back in the oven after we tack them up with some barbecue sauce. Let me get this moved over here a little bit. There we go. A little bit of barbecue sauce. I'm not going to do the bottom side. I don't see any point in it. I don't want to take away from the seasonings that I got on it right now. And I'm kind of already doing that with the barbecue sauce. But everybody likes a little barbecue sauce on their ribs. All right, we're going to get these back in the oven. One more hour, let that sauce tack up. And we'll see you then. Okay, I got these out of the oven. It's been an hour. I'm gonna take this one right here just for the, I gotta wait for the family to come though, because we're having dinner tonight, but I'm gonna try one right off the end here. Oh man. Oh yeah. That is so good. Oh my God, and tender too. Well, I hope you learned something, Tina. If you didn't, and if you got any questions, something like that, just let me know. Drop something down in the comments, and I'll address the issue. So I'm gonna have to stop eating this because I've got family coming over here in about another half an hour, and if I keep doing this, there's not going to be anything left for them. So anyway, thanks a lot for joining me on this episode of Keller's Grill Zebo, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.